Blessings to Africa. Yes, blessings everywhere. Green vibes. Alaji, Sela. For Mother Nature, we thank you, Lord. Umushili wa isula nefisuma, nefisabo, as we live in together.
So my name is Mandisa Zita. I'm very pleased to meet you all and to be amongst esteemed practitioners in the Southern African region. And thank you to SOTAMBE for inviting me. So I'm the festival director for the Encounter South African International Documentary Festival. We are based in Cape Town, but the festival takes place in Cape Town and Johannesburg. However, due to COVID, we have migrated to digital platforms and we are able to reach the whole country with certain programs like the Shorts program available to the rest of the world. I'm also a board member of the Durban Film Mart, which is the premier film market in the country. And I also sit on the board of the Independent Black Filmmakers Collective. Yeah, so Encounters has been around for 23 years. It's obviously focused on the documentary genre with the big objective of promoting African documentaries to the rest of the world. We also program international documentaries. We have a small but excellent program of productions from all around the world. And we run various training programs and talk series with the aim of developing and instilling knowledge to the industry. Yeah, so that's me in a nutshell from Cape Town.
Awesome, thank you so much. And thank you for being part of the judging team for this year's festival. We're really, really honored. Okay, next I'll call upon Mr. Kangela. This is now one of the judges for the scripts. So, Mr. Barnabas Kangela, are you ready to introduce yourself? Just a brief introduction.
Yeah. Actually, though I'm known as Barnabas Kangela, I'm a script writer. Joined the arts in 1978 and went full-time from 1995 up to now. That's a demo artist. That's it.
Okay, thank you so much. Becky.
My name is Becky Ngoma. I'm a Zambian filmmaker, amongst other things. I'm a screenwriter by profession, also a producer and director. I co-run, I'm a director. I'm a co-director for a media company called House of Work. And I've been in the film industry for the past 16 years as a writer, and some of my works, some of the works that I've worked on being Kabanana soap opera, Fever TV series, Zambezi Magic Star Zuba TV series. Yeah, amongst the other works that I've done, Love Games and all. And then other than being a script writer, I'm also a co-director for Zambia Short Film Festival and Young Cinema Zambia, which is a training platform. It's a short film festival / a training platform for upcoming filmmakers. And I train upcoming filmmakers in script writing, in script writing. Yeah. I guess that's it about me.
Awesome, thank you so much. So we also have Mr. Henry Joe Sakala, who's
I'm on this platform in the Kappa.
Pardon?
Okay, hello?
Go ahead, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm happy to be associated with SOTAMBE and the skills development that they are doing, and also the exposing of arts and integrating of arts across Southern Africa. And I'm on this platform in the capacity of judge in the script competition category.
Awesome, thank you so much for that introduction. Mr. Barrett Mwenda, are you ready? just need a brief introduction about yourself and just your professional background.
My name is Zumbi Beret Mwenda, an academician. I've got an engineering background, but then I've got a great passion for storytelling, filmmaking, and just to be creative, to think outside the box. So I think I've been associated with works that Becky has talked about. Some of the works we've done with Becky, some of the works that I've done with Catherine Kasaketi, some of the works that I've done with the late Antonio Katakwe. I think we've done several documentaries together. I love editing. That's my passion. So cinematography, all those crazy things that people do. So it's been trained somewhere else outside Africa. I felt I needed to bring some of the things that I learned and then inculcate that knowledge into the minds of upcoming and those that are doing film in Zambia. So I come with that kind of background.
Great, thank you very much. So I believe the only people we have left are Mr. Henry Joe Sakala. I'm not yet sure if he's in the room, but we also have Mr. Leonard Amanya. And I believe that is everyone. Yeah, so let's get into the interview. Wow, it's been quite a time these last couple of months. You know, we've been having so many submissions for films. We had about 200 film submissions plus, I believe, this year. So from that, like I mentioned earlier, we had short films, we had documentaries, we had feature films, and we had to have the short film scripts as well. So I'm going to start with those who are judging the other categories apart from the scripts. When it came to choosing these, the short films and those sort of things, what was the criteria that you used? Oh, Leonard, hi.
Hey, hello?
Hi.
Sorry.
No problem, go ahead. Just a brief introduction about yourself.
Okay. First of all, I apologize for running away when I was supposed to speak. And I know it's annoying to come off and on, but I pray that you're patient with me.
No problem.
Well, my name is Leonard Amanya. I'm born and I work in this beautiful country, Uganda. I know some people like Mwenda have been here. And actually, I thought Mwenda is a Ugandan staying in Zambia. But he explained that he just has a similar name, culture, African culture, is closely related. Anyway, my name, like I said, I'm Leonard Amanya from Uganda. I curate with the Uganda Film Festival for the last 9 years. Also, I'm an inspector of cinemas, video hall, and libraries, and also a consultant on filmmaking and production, as well as a producer and director, among other things that are fun to do in the film sphere. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to be part of the Sobati edition, 8th edition. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's it. That's my introduction. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. In fact, since you're here, I think I may very well start with you. One specific question that I had in mind. So you are coming from Uganda, that's
Yes.
East Africa, and you are judging
Yes,
the SADC region films mostly from the SADC region. We do have some from all over the world, but majority of them are from the SADC region. So
yes.
What has been your view of the Southern African film industry, like just having to judge these films that were submitted? What were your thoughts?
Well, I'm going to be honest. when I look at, let me first say with generally the African content of African films, I think we've greatly improved in terms of our storytelling. I would talk about especially the post-production. I've seen wonderful movies. I know the stories in terms of storytelling has not been excellent, but when it comes to editing, our people are doing very wonderful work. I will not specifically mention the titles, but you look at the work and you say, wow, this is wonderful. And some of the things make you want to follow the movie, see what's the next thing that this person worked on, how do they, even if the storytelling is not excellent, I know we are getting there. So um, I was a jury at the Durban International Film Festival, that is South Africa, and I watched about 13 documentaries, and I wanted to watch every documentary. That every documentary that I watched was wonderful, and that's not only saying that these are South African films, but look, coming from different regions, coming from Botswana. So now come back to the films that I watched, the feature films. Are you there?
Yes, we're here. Yes, we're here.
Yes, I commend the work that is being done by both the old and young people in terms of creating content. The content that I saw, do I need to mention the specific areas that we need to improve on, or the good side? Advise me on that.
Okay, so that one we're going to have a specific question for that one, so we can have all the judges for this category put in their input.
Yes, okay. The films were wonderful to watch. I'll not be biased on that. They are wonderful to watch. All of them that I watched, about 37, 40 films, all of them were wonderful. And the screen, actually, when I was recommending some of the films for the screening program, I kept telling the Martina that, can you give me a chance at least to make 30 films, please? And she's like, okay, Leonard, try. But you know, that kind of, when you want people to watch more of these movies, they are wonderful, and you fail you fail to eliminate a film because they are good films. Yeah, it's a commendable work being done.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. To Mandisa and Mr. Barrett, were these the submissions that you saw, were they to your expectations? Did they exceed your expectations? Were they below your expectations? This is now an opportunity to just be blunt. And just to add your thoughts as well to what Mr. Amanya has been saying.
So similar to Leonard, I watched the documentary section. Unfortunately, I only watched specific documentaries from the SADC region, so I'm not sure if I watched everything. But from what I watched, I really think that we have a huge array of diverse films on offer, with a number of different topics, and I was very pleased to be introduced to new issues, new subject matters that I haven't seen before, from Zambia, from Botswana, maybe from Malawi, I think. So I was very intrigued by the introduction to new subject matters, because I watch a lot of films, and sometimes you feel like you're seeing the same issues, and it was very interesting to see the thematic concerns of the films. I think SOTAMBE generally attracts filmmakers of different levels. So you have the established filmmakers and the emerging filmmakers, or filmmakers that have made one short film or one other film. And what I love about our festivals is that we're able to give a space and a platform for all types of filmmakers. You can have an award-winning filmmaker next to a young emerging filmmaker, just to promote them and to inspire them and to encourage them into the industry. And I think that's a positive thing. Some of the films I watched and selected are obviously films that are currently traveling to festivals in the region, on the continent. and some of them internationally, and they've won awards. So those are obviously the films that you could not miss out on. You know, you want audiences to also see the best of what's happening in the SADC region and what the industry is talking about. You know, what are the latest films that everyone is talking about or everyone is programming or watching. So that was the one side of films. And then I saw films from emerging filmmakers, and I was very intrigued. You could see there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of interesting subjects with the short documentaries that I saw. I think a lot of filmmakers definitely had the stories and the focus points and need encouragement in terms of, you know, production skills, just having that more support with funding or with direction. And I think it's got to do with working on storytelling, because in documentary, as we are learning, it's not just about promoting the issue that you're confronting in your community or in your society. You need to tell a story. You need to bring creativity. It's a narrative that you need to attract audiences towards. And we will learn about your subject matter anyway. And I think that's something some of the young filmmakers would need to learn about, that documentary is actually a form of storytelling as well. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I think that was very helpful information because it partly answered one of the questions I was going to ask about the criteria you were looking at. So I think we've gotten a glimpse, particularly from you. Mr. Barrett, is there anything else you'd like to add in terms of your perspective during the time you were judging these films?
When I looked at what has been brought on the plate, there's been an improvement in terms of quality. When you look at the crispness of the picture, I think we are getting there. I think the editors, the software that people are using, the cameras, and just the movement, some of the shots, I think for me were breathtaking. Stuff that I never thought I would see in this time and age, but it's happening now. So you find there's this improvement that has come on high quality stuff. And then I'm also looking at the way the director maybe runs with the story. So how do you capture an audience? I'm one person who's very difficult to sit in one place when I'm watching a movie. I look at the first 5 minutes and I'm gone. So you need to keep me hooked to that. And these are some of the things I would consider. If somebody else was watching, would they sit and, you know, go on with the way you have executed your assignment? Script, nice script, and I'm hoping some of the scripts that have been selected would be some of the works that have been selected by maybe in the short film category or the feature film category, because then we are saying the director, the writer, they more or less were having the same thought. So those are some of the things that I'll be looking at. How is the director flowing with a story? Because at times it's easy, you want to get this thought across, and then you just come up with shortcuts. Shortcuts are good, but then the psychological closure needs to be understood. Why have you taken such an action in your storytelling? So there will be a reason. I'll be looking at that. I think you agree with me that you cannot tell everything in a film, but there are certain things that need to point to an idea, a thought, or an action. So those things need to be considered even as we look at the film. So in terms of presented, there's been a great improvement. We've had an overwhelming response from all over the world. So we are receiving, we've received quite a number of great work. It hasn't been easy to do adjudication over this.
Thank you for that feedback. I think it was also very, very helpful for those who are listening who may have submitted films and we're looking to see where they can improve. We'll now move to the judges for the scripts. So just to make it clear, the judges for the scripts, first of all came from Zambia. Reason being, the scripts that were being chosen were specifically targeted to the Zambian market. So as SOTAMBE, we are still looking to expand ourselves, but for now, that's where we're starting. So I can start with Mr. Kangela. What was the criteria you were looking at when it came to choosing the film scripts that were chosen as the nominees for this year's festival?
Thank you very much. I personally was looking at the rudiments of script writing, and which is, I think, missing in most of the ones which were submitted. I would wish, let me sidetrack a bit. I would wish the guys who submitted the movies, they should also have submitted the scripts for those movies. So I was looking for what is the world of the story and what's the trigger? Why did you write about this script? What does the hero want? What is he trying to sort out? And what jazzes you about this script? How did this hero, if it was easy, so you cannot write about that script, but normally it's supposed to be a bit difficult. But some scripts were having, just like novels, some have tried. Most of them, they don't have the rudiments of script writing, but they've got a passion. That's what is interesting. The movie makers, I would say, even those scripts, if they're put into a movie, considering like what most of you guys have said, the technical people in the movie industry, they've advanced far much by more than the script writing. But even within that, there are one or two people who did the best they could do, because some of the scripts, there isn't even a character Bible. You don't know who you're dealing. It just starts on the first page and there's just the dialogue. And some of them don't even have the scene numbers. And there are different people from the ones we judged last year. So I picked on the rudiments of script writing. So where is the inciting incident? What does the hero want? Why is the empathy for the main actor? So those are the ones which I was looking for, and then I gave them the marks.
Okay, thank you for that. Becky Ngoma, is there anything you'd like to add to that? What was it you specifically were looking for in the scripts when you were looking at them?
Okay, so basically for me, the first key thing that I look for in a story is the voice. Okay, because we have so many storytellers across the world, and this is one of the things that the world is looking for. The world is looking for a new voice in storytelling, okay? Because like when you look at stories, a lot of stories have been told and retold, remodified, retold. So the most unique thing that I look for, number one, in a story is the voice. What is the voice? What is the voice of the storyteller? Okay. What are you bringing to the table that the other storytellers have not brought? Okay, what are you bringing to the table that is fresh, that is new? That's the first thing that I look for. And then the second thing that I look for in a good script is, does your story resonate? Does your story resonate with the audience? Because I've seen it like with a lot of work that I've read about, I've read from upcoming writers, is there's a huge tendency to be, I've been there also as a young writer. I'm coming from that background where most of the stories happening in your head that you don't know how to connect the story from outside your head to the reality on the ground. And then you find you create superfluous characters that your audience are not able to resonate and connect with, or you bring situations that you sometimes just scratch on the top when it's actually a topic or a theme that is deep. And so what is the other thing that I look for? I look for the theme. What is the theme of the story? Where can we categorize it? How strong is your theme? Because a theme will help me just see like other stories that have been done under that theme and to compare yourself, how you fit within that theme. And I can say like a lot of stories we received were under the GBV theme or what is the Me Too theme. Yeah, we had a lot of like Me Too theme type of of stories. And then the next thing I look for is, I don't pay so much attention to the structure. For me, I think the story is always more important to me. So the next thing that I was looking for is the story, the originality of the story. Originality is very important, because at the end of the day is when you're coming to tell a story, you must understand that you are not the only person who is making fat fries and bringing fat fries to the table, because there are 20 million other people that are bringing fat fries to your to the market. So what is different about your fat fries? And that's the way a storyteller is supposed to think. What is it that you're bringing in your story? How original is your story? Because what makes a story original is that we can all tell a story about a tree, but we are going to tell it from a different experience. And this is where your originality comes from. And what I've seen is like from the batch of scripts we received this year is there's a lot of emulating Hollywood. A lot of emulating Hollywood. I know that Hollywood has a huge influence on the African storyteller, especially the Zambian storyteller, in that we are big consumers of Hollywood stories. And so when you're receiving scripts, like you are literally seeing the Hollywood tone, you are seeing the Hollywood, you are getting the Hollywood text and everything. So it's just like you've just lifted a Hollywood script and just changed the film Mutales, where Julia becomes Mutale, John becomes Mansa, and everything. So how original is your story that when I read it, I feel like, oh, wow, I've never read anything like this. This story has just gripped me in a different way. After originality, what I look for again is a very critical thing in storytelling, the hero. The hero's motive. What is the hero's goal? What is the hero's goal? One of the biggest challenges also I noticed in our stories is the tendency to write passive heroes that are passive in the story and not proactive towards achieving their own goal. So you have things happening to the character and really not the character taking the journey and going towards achieving their goal, and you seeing them meeting obstacles and resolving obstacles and meeting bigger obstacles. So you find like passive characters who have their obstacles resolved by other characters or resolved by nature or consequences. So like it's hard to follow a story or be motivated by a story or a character who has not resolved anything in their own journey, because the hero is actually passive in their own journey. That's one of the key weaknesses that I also spotted, which is also one of the judging criteria. The other one is script structure, which Bunny already spoke about. Like some of it is presented as it's like a comprehension essay, comprehension essay, and some of it is it's a script, but the speech is not of the script. Like it comes as reported speech. It comes as reported speech, and also characterization is another thing that we're looking at. Is how authentic are your characters, and then also in your characterization, what's your character journey? What's your character journey? Who are they when we meet them in the story? Where are they going? How is the story transforming them? What is happening with them as they're going through this journey? Because people experience the story through the characters. And once the characters are weak, it's hard for people to connect with the story. So searching inconsistencies, I understand, but at the end of the day is I still want to give credit to the people that submitted for taking the effort to just sit down and start writing that script. So for everybody that submitted, I want to give you a heads up, and don't feel discouraged by the things that we're talking about here. We all come from that background, and we all learn as we go. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Becky, for that insight. I think that was very helpful information, because I think a lot of people when they're submitting, they're kind of going with the wind and hoping kind of figure itself out. But a film, someone once put it to me, they're like, film is like surgery. Every single step counts and builds on the other. So you may have a great story, but the execution is very, very key. And it even starts in the script. So I want to take time to just point out one specific person. We've all been seeing, I believe, the advert for Maria Christou. Now, I'd like the judges of the scripts to just give us some insight. Paul Willow has been submitting films since, I don't know when, with SOTAMBE, and you guys have been judging his work. He's started, you could do the whole thing of he started from the bottom, now he's here, sort of situation. What advice would you give to those people who they may have submitted, and this question I think will go to the script, those who are judging the scripts and those who are just judging generally. What advice would you give to those who had submitted a film or submitted a script, were not nominated, and feel like giving up? And maybe this might not even have been their first or their second time, maybe this is their third or fourth try. What advice would you give them to, in terms of the future and their progress?
I think I can come in. I'm not being political. There's been a very good example given to us by our current president, who failed 5 times, who saw roughly 25 years. So they should emulate him. We have to learn, but being critiqued, I'm avoiding criticizing, by being critiqued, they're telling you that you've got a way to go, there's a future, but why don't you do this? So it might take even 5 years. Eventually, you're going to make it. But immediately you are being critiqued, and then you start saying they know nothing what they're talking about. Becky has been there for a long time, a very, very long time. Barrett has been there for a long time. So we've all bent our fingers. So you're also just bending our fingers. Beck says, don't give up. By even submitting, it's you're strong enough, because you sit down. Me, I write scripts from 22 hours up to 3 a.m. So that time when people are sleeping, and that, I'm sure that's what you are doing. That's a lot of time you've spent. So just let's just chop off the blocks and smoothen them up. Well done, guys.
Awesome. Any of the judges?
I could throw in a word on that one too.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Barrett.
Yeah. I think people have a great passion. There are quite a number of people that come to my home for advice. I sit with them, talk to them about how they can improve their work. They keep submitting their work, and I see the differences, in their improvement. So the issues, and I think through the boot camp that I conduct every year, this has helped quite a number of people get to a certain level. They are, I think, applying what we teach at boot camp, and I'm happy. But for those that come through, I think for me, I'm very open, I'm free. I can talk to anyone and advise where I can. So please come through.
As a festival programmer, we get hundreds of films every year, and it's very difficult to give filmmakers feedback. We have a number of programmers looking at the films and readers, we call them film readers. So it's very difficult to give filmmakers who take the time and effort to submit films direct feedback. But I do encourage filmmakers to approach their programmers or the festival director, maybe after the festival, and just request some feedback if they have time. Doesn't have to be detailed. You can plan a Zoom call or a phone call and ask for feedback on your film, and have an open mind to receive that feedback. I also encourage filmmakers to do work in progress screenings and screenings with your peers, maybe in your lounge, in your bedroom, wherever. with other filmmakers and other practitioners to get feedback on your film before you start submitting it to festivals, or when you notice that you're not successful with festival submissions. It's always good to get feedback from your peers, as Barrett said. So don't be afraid to organize small screenings with 5 or 10 people and get that feedback. Because if you're just submitting blindly, you're not opening yourself up to bettering your production. So I would say that that's very important.
For me, it's the issue of I have seen filmmakers who are a bit proud. They feel they've achieved it all. So in terms of when you give them feedback, they feel offended. They feel, you know, as creators, we need to listen, like my colleagues have shared. Humble yourself. And the other thing is, there are people who have won awards. Like if someone has won an award this year, or they have won an award before, those big awards, maybe best director, there's something about why they have won. So I would encourage those who want to aspire for bigger dreams to go to these people. Unless the person is selfish, go to them, tell them, how did you do this? How did you do this? Look at my script. They will help you. So when they help you, you also improve your craft. And you can't work alone. Yeah, there are and the good thing in the film industry is we work as a team. If you work alone, you will never succeed. If you look at people who work alone, they never go far. So I encourage filmmakers, don't give up. You may not have won an award, or you've not been nominated. Don't give up on yourself and say, you know what, I don't think this is. First of all, it's your passion. This is what you want. This is what you want to do. And when you sit down and concentrate on, probably first of all, your script, like they are simple. Like, for me, I believe in structures. The structures help you when, like, you're building a house. You can't just come and drop it like, I'm going to put a door, I'm going to put a roof. You have to build a foundation for your story. I know that I have put the foundation is strong, then I'll put the pillars, then I'll put the second floor with a strong foundation. It's a structure you build. And when you build, that structure will be strong. And everyone who looks at the house or the building will say, how did you do this? And it's fun when you achieve your goals. So that's what I can add on, that filmmakers need to humble themselves, inquire a lot from people who have been before. There are a lot of I'll give an example. There are countries where, I'm not mentioning a country, but there are countries where you find filmmakers, when you put a training, maybe on a masterclass on maybe script writing or on editing, and nobody applies because, I don't know, they feel maybe they have achieved it all, and you want to help them improve. So I encourage filmmakers in Southern Africa, learn as much as you can, because the more you learn, the more you become better. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that advice. And just before I open the floor to a few questions, because we have a few minutes left for anyone else who may want to add or ask a question. Just the resounding theme here is being willing to be mentored and being willing to improve. When you think you've made it, then you've probably reached like a dangerous position, because we're all here to learn. No one ever reaches perfection. I think the best example I can give is, for example, Lupita Nyong'o. I think we all know her from 12 Years a Slave, Black Panther. She's still going to film school. And now she's already technically, if you look at the African standard, made it in that sense, but she still feels that she needs to improve here and there. So the moment you start reaching a level where you think you know it all, you've made it, you've gotten your awards, then you're already closing yourself up to potential upgrading of yourself. So that's really what the SOTAMBE Festival is about. It's about providing that space where you can meet with people who are at different levels. We have upcoming filmmakers and we have those who've been there in the game for a long time. So this is a platform where we level the playing field and we're bridging the gap where you can connect with these people. I know a lot of people who submitted. You find there's a lot of collaborations between people from different countries. If you look at, for example, the Fatsani movie, it was done in Malawi, but we have Pompey from Zambia who's doing the music for it, and it all happens right there at the film festivals. We also have, for those who are looking for programs and stuff where you can learn, Mr. Barrett has mentioned, we do have boot camps that happen every year as SOTAMBE here in Zambia. We're trying to open it more to the SADC region, but because of COVID and different issues, it's been difficult. But that is one of the things. But even for this festival, we do have online master shares, which is starting next week. If you go on our social media pages, on our Facebook page, it's SOTAMBE Film Institute, you'll find the information about it for next week. And we have different people from all over the world, in addition to the judges here who have been giving us insight, who are going to give us more information about the different aspects of film to look out for, film in business, just generally. So that's just my 2 cents to add to what has been said. I'll now open the floor to the general participants. If there's anyone who has a question for our judges, would give just a couple of minutes for you to ask now.
My question is, I think this is what many of us as upcoming filmmakers would want to ask. It's a situation whereby you have, how can I put this? You've got the story, you've written a script, you've come up with everything. It's a whole complete structure, you've plotted it and everything. But then, according to your script, it's so big that within your capacity, you cannot manage to fund it. You cannot manage to fund it. So my question is, how do you find the right people that you can work with on your project? How do you find the people who you can trust with your project? Because in today's world, there are a lot of people that have been taught to say, if you just go ahead blindly, you give your project to the wrong people and then they would steal it from you. So how do you find the people that you can work with in truly and honesty? Thank you.
If I'm not mistaken, he's asking about funding, I think, for the scripts. I don't know if I missed anything. Is there anyone who would like to answer?
I think funding is a big problem, even to what we can call professionals. They've got a lot of scripts which haven't seen the day of the light of day. It's very, very, very difficult to get funded. But my advice would be, don't be worried about people stealing your script. I used to think like that. They can get your concept, and concepts are the same. You can talk about love, you can talk about witchcraft. Everybody's free to do that, but it won't be the same. You can advertise. Now we're in social media. Advertise yourself. From Bani Kanjela, I write scripts. Anybody wants a script, they do respond. So you can say, I have a script. Come, we sit down. I'm looking for funders, whether it's on Facebook, it's on WhatsApp, these other social media platforms. So try. So don't depend on people in Kitwe or the people in Lusaka. I don't think so, because you are not known yet. So advertise yourself. If you go, probably try Netflix, then they say this is a good idea. They might even do the funding. In Zambia, no one has got money to actually to fund a movie for 5 million kwacha. But there are some people outside, like someone said, let's think outside the box. Is it Barrett? So film industry is always, an Italian movie has been funded by New York, a New York movie script has been funded by Japan. How do they do it? By corresponding, going into social media. Thanks.
Yes, I want to add on that that anyone who wants funding, like my colleague said, you have to market yourself to potential investors. When you write a story and you have to believe in what you want to sell. Yeah, you can't go and plant tomatoes and then you don't believe that you'll be able to sell. By the time you plant those tomatoes, believe that you can sell them. And then networking helps you to find funders. If you don't interact with people, especially in your circles, then you're not going to be able to find funders. So there are many networks all over the world of filmmakers. Be in these groups, talk to people, share your idea, but also remember you need to copyright your story. Yeah, put a copyright to it. so that when someone steals it, you're able to go and probably legally they can help you. Yeah. So for me, that's I would advise for anyone looking for funding. Believe in your story, network, talk to people. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And Emmanuel, I'm not sure which country you're from, but the SOTAMBE Film Institute, one of the things we're trying to introduce is the SOTAMBE Film Fund. We do understand that it is a bit tricky to get funding. Now, this one is specifically for scripts. So we're building that bridge to try and do funding. We're still growing it now. But for example, this year, the winner of the short film script gets to receive 15,000 kwacha for their film. It may not be much, but it is a good start in terms of managing your finances and your funding towards that script. But in the meantime, if you can find funding, continue to improve yourself. I think it was Robert Kiyosaki who said, if you're not earning, you're learning. So in the meantime, while waiting for funding, continue to improve yourself, continue to improve your script. Like I said earlier, that's why we've got these master shares, master classes, boot camps coming up. And also, like Mr. Amanya mentioned, copyright your script. One of the things we're going to be talking about in the master shares is going to be a segment for business, understanding the role of patenting, copywriting, and all those things, your product. Because it's true, it does happen. But if you understand how you can secure it for yourself, you are safe and you can feel more free to share your ideas. So thank you for that. We have a question from Semba, I believe. Please go ahead.
Good evening. Thank you. I just want to make a comment on Emmanuel's question when we talk about funding. Thank you very much to SOTAMBE and the organizers. I've been attending and been part of SOTAMBE for the past 4 years, and I've been attending the booty camps for the last 3 years. Thank you to Uncle Barrett, Uncle Benny for being there always. So when we talk about funding, I feel this platform of SOTAMBE has also brought about networking. So when we talk about funding, maybe he's looking at maybe where he's going to get the equipment. In the last 2 boot camps, I wasn't a script writer, I wasn't anything. The only thing that I did was to learn about other cameras. So because people would come with other gears that they use during filming, and I've been buying cameras, still learning about cameras. So maybe it is the source of equipment that is also expensive. But if you network with others, Emmanuel, you get to maybe to get gear on a lower price, because somebody is going to look at the relationship that you have. So when we talk about funding also look at how much you're going to source gear. So in that way, when you are networking with others, people are there to help. And the other thing that Leo mentioned was marketing yourself. You need to market yourself. The more you market yourself, the corporate world will come in and they may help you. So I think in this field that we are, networking is also important. It drives us from one level to another, because SOTAMBE has brought up this platform. I know SOTAMBE is a platform for upgrade. Every time that we attend SOTAMBE, we learn something new. No wonder learning is continuous. I feel, Emmanuel, your question is something that is broad, that Uncle Barrett, who doesn't stop talking, can talk the entire day, just explaining about funding. This is my comment. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Semba, for that. It's really, really helpful.
Becky. Hello? Can I add something?
Yes, go ahead, please, feel free.
I forgot just to mention the issue of contracts. I know there's like I said, copyright, But even if someone is going to come and work on your project for free or for money, please remember to always do a contract, even if it's your family member, because that's in terms of being secure, being protective of your work, because tomorrow maybe the project will make billions of money, and the person you didn't sign a contract with is that person, and the person will come and ask you and tell you, you know what, you didn't give me my money, something like issues will come up. So I know we're talking about funding, but funding may not only be in terms of money, maybe in terms of, like my colleague said, in terms of equipment, in terms of actors, and you find that at the end of the day, you're not actually spending money, but you're using resources that are available because you network with these people. People know you, and people want to put their name on your project because it's a good project. So funding is not only about money, but it's about networking. You become rich when you have friends to work with, people to work with, people who believe, people who are able to build a reputation with you because of your good work. Thank you.
And that good work calls for people to follow. I think like we do Twitter and other things, you have a following because of your good work. So at times it's who we are when we're out there as filmmakers. How do we portray ourselves to the business community? I know of people who have lost contracts because they thought being in the artistic world, they could be artistic even in the corporate kind of arrangement, and then you find your contract is terminated. So I think we need to be people who are aware. I think I keep talking about 21 careers in filmmaking, an appreciation of the 21 careers. I'll never stop talking about it because that is what makes you connect to the other people around, the networking we are talking about. I have an engineering background. I love film. But then there'll be somebody else who's a banker who would want to maybe expand their business, and they feel maybe going the art way. They throw in some money, corporate social responsibility. So all these things, they help us to build confidence from the business and financial point of view. And you find the monies and other things follow. You may get certain gear and certain services for free because you have portrayed yourself in a certain way. I think that I can confidently say can help in getting some of the funds and some of the projects on their way.
Yes, well, that is very valuable advice. And I just want to say thank you for being open with us, especially as judges. Becky, you have something you'd like to add?
Yeah, so I'm saying I'm going to answer this from a writer's perspective, because I understand the person who asked the question is coming from is asking from a writer's position, like writer producer. So I'm just going to talk about what has worked for me. First and foremost, when you're writing a story, it's the same thing that I'm saying, like film is a business like anything else. So you need to understand that you're an artist, but you're also you're an artist as well as an entrepreneur in the business of film. Okay, so before you start writing your script, like even when we're doing any other business, we try to find the market first. We try to find where the market is and where the money for the project is going to come from before we even start putting in the projects. And I understand the speaker where he's speaking from, because that used to be my mistake also some time back. But I have learned now that before I even start penning down a script, when I'm looking at independent producing, I first research on what are people looking for in the market? Where is their money potentially? So now, instead of the art driving where the fund is, sometimes it works to know where the fund is coming from, and then you let the fund direct how you are going to build this story. Okay, I've seen this work for me, because sometimes there is somebody who can give you money for your script, but your script is not the type of product they're looking for. That's why sometimes, like, there are a lot of there are some funding institutions, and I also know, like, some local people that are funding. Like I've gotten some funding from some corporates before and everything. But what you need to know is that the person who is giving you money also has an objective. So what is the objective of the financier before you think of your objective? So when you're laying the foundation of your story, think of who's going to give you the money first. It's going to help you a lot. And then another answer is co-production, which was mentioned. I don't know, there's a caller who came in who was, there's somebody who came in who was talking about cameras. Co-production also works, because I think the problem that we have also is sometimes when we write a story, we want so much ownership that we don't want to, we want everything to be about us. Oh, it's my story, it's my story. But when you take a story and you bring it into production, it ceases to be your story when you want to bring it into production. It becomes everybody else's story, and letting go and letting in other people play a role is also another way you get to fund. There's a co-production. One of my first films was a co-production, and literally what we did is like, I just brought people that had different skills from mine and made them buy into the vision, and we all put our little resources together. And even the actors who acted were not paid, they worked pro bono. So what it is just invite other people into your vision, let them buy into your vision, and people that, sometimes there are people who are willing to actually build the dream with you. It has worked that way. And then another way to get funding, they already mentioned it, like networking. Know what is going on out there, because sometimes people are saying, I've had a lot of people come to my inbox, I've got this great script, Becky, I'm trying to see where I can get money. And I ask this question, number one is, where have you gone first to look for money? And then they say they have no answer. So basically, I've also seen like there's some people have not even knocked on any door yet. They have not knocked on any door yet, okay? And then another answer is also, in your writing, write also stories that are budget conscious, you know, because at the end of the day, you know, like you don't have the capacity to produce a film that is going to demand $50 million. And you even know you are in a market, you're operating from a film market that does not have that kind of fund first. So try to create concepts and build stories that are budget conscious, that can work within the environment where you are telling your story from. And then the second part the caller asked about was the fear to have your project stolen. And I know that is a real monster. I've encountered it before, where you go and pitch your project to somebody, and boom, the next thing they're doing exactly what you pitched to them when you went to them to ask for help or to bring them on board, and you shared your vision with them, but then they literally just get your vision and they are going there to execute it without you, and you don't even know how to claim back contracts. Somebody spoke about that, but one of the contracts that I'm gonna talk about is the making people sign a non-disclosure contract. Like, don't share your creative content with people before you make them sign some document that protects you and protects your work. And I know sometimes as writers, because we've put our vision on paper, sometimes we are so enthusiastic that we are so excited and we really want to share our vision with somebody, and we'll go and we'll share our document carelessly. And people have done that with me, where they send me scripts that I have not even asked them to send to me. They'll inbox them and everything. And I know it's coming from a place of excitement, and sometimes from a place of desperation, because you really want to see this vision kick off. But please, patent your work before you can share it. I know to the filmmakers in Zambia, I know Pakra does creative content packaging. When you've got your script and everything, you can have it patented. But also, before you share your vision, please make people sign a contract so they cannot share your work. I think that's my contribution.
Okay, thank you, Becky, for that. And for those who have submitted for this festival, we use the Film Freeway platform partly also for that particular reason, because we are trying to also protect you. You are exposing yourself, but with SOTAMBE, we're trying to also cover you in ways that the best ways that we can. However, taking Becky's advice as well in terms of patenting it or copywriting it would also be a good backup for you personally if you're submitting to people outside of SOTAMBE or wherever else. So I think last question from Dixon. I'm not sure if it's a question or a contribution. So Dixon, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Hopefully you can get me. Hello, can you get me? All right. My question is in regards to the technical aspect of film production. Yeah, there's been a context of saying use what you have to get the best. Yeah, and my question is, how would you advise where as far as art and technology of motion pictures is concerned, how would you advise about that? What would be the best advice, brother? Thank you.
Okay, so if I'm not mistaken,
I think I'll seek clarity on that one.
Dixon, can you kindly repeat the question? I heard content creation specifically, but I'm not so sure in what context. Can you repeat your question?
Okay, my question is, where as far as the art and technology of motion pictures is concerned, we have this notion of saying you can use whatever you want, let's say phones and whatever, to just get content rather. Yeah, and what would be the best advice to the technical aspect of film in regards to that? Because I believe everybody wants to make good content. So what would be the best advice on that?
Okay, can I come in on that one? I'll first take everyone to a football match. I think when you talk of use what you have, most of our teams train from very funny grounds. But then when they get to the big matches, they go to this nice stadium, 50,000 capacity and stuff like that. So you're using what you have to train to get to football. Now, what is the goal of you trying to create content using, say, an iPhone, using a Samsung phone, or any other camera that you may decide to use? Is it a category that you are looking at? Is this category of shooting a movie using a phone? Do you want to do an experiment and compare your equipment, this type of gear, with that? So I think there should be a motivation for one to create content for a specific thing. Let's say you want to throw in your film to Hollywood and other things, other festivals, or SOTAMBE, for instance. Now, let me talk about SOTAMBE. What is the motivation for you to create that content using that type of equipment that you have? Do you want to bring out a certain aspect, let's say color? Do you want to bring out sound? Do you want to bring out the way it captures things at a distance, depth of field, and all those things when we go into those technical issues? What is it that you want to bring out using that type of gear? So you may not have, so you find yourself creating with what is available. But is it what we are asking for as a festival? So I think that one is, I would answer it generally, because the other things that would determine what a judge or any person wants. You go to a client, they'll tell you, I need this kind of output. So the format at the end of it all, I think, is what will determine whether it's a good idea or not.
Thank you, Mr. Barrett. Mr. Makina, is that a contribution or a question?
Thank you. I think Uncle Barrett has spoken my mind. So I think I'll leave it like that. Thank you, Uncle Barrett.
Most welcome.
Okay. So thank you to everyone for your time. This about wraps up our session with the judges. Judges, want to thank you so much for making yourselves available in your busy schedules. We want to say thank you to the participants who joined us as well. We've mentioned quite a lot of information during this time, a lot of which in terms of the details concerning the festival and other aspects. You can find them on our social media pages. That's SOTAMBE Film Institute on Facebook, SOTAMBE Festival on YouTube for videos. And this session has been recorded. So if you'd like to go back and take notes and share with other people, please feel free to check out that page. And yeah, it's been an honor to be with all of you. So this is us saying goodbye. Looking forward to seeing some of your faces at the festival next week. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, judges.
Thank you very much. Very nice to meet everyone.
And good night. Yeah, pleasure.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Blessings to Africa. Yes, blessings everywhere. Green vibes. Alaji, Sela. For Mother Nature.